Okay, so here we're looking at an Electrolux dryer. I'll get you the model number later on, but I just wanted to show you the noise that it's actually making, kind of like a grinding noise. The heating element is still working, but it's got an awful grinding noise in it, so we're going to take a look at that in just a little bit. So what we're going to do for now is actually take off the back panel of the dryer, and we're going to reveal the back part. I believe it's probably a bearing issue that's making that grinding noise, but we're going to check that out. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on hyper record and go from there. Okay, so we actually went ahead and took out all the screws pretty much almost all the way around. We removed the hose, of course, and we're gonna have to disconnect your exhaust hose, and then we want to make sure that we unplug your main power source, which is right here. Just go ahead and take that out right away. No, you don't electrocute yourself. And then we're gonna have to disconnect the power, which is right here. And I'm just gonna go ahead and do that right away. Just make sure you save all your screws and your panels and stuff. Put it like in a designated area. Okay. Right here you have your two positives and your negative. You want to disconnect those for now. We're going to have to disconnect it mainly because we can't take this panel off unless you disconnect the power. So we'll go ahead and take that off also. Make sure you're disconnected from the wall, and then we'll go ahead and start taking these out. Now we're going to take off this exhaust hose here, removing this clamp. Just like that. And then we got a couple of screws way in the bottom here that we need to take those out also. Spider! You see him right there, watch. Dang you, spider. Okay, so I took the back panel off. I actually took off the top panel also off. It was just two screws, one on each side. You can kind of see this one on this end right here, and then there's another one on the other end. And then this one, I'm just gonna kind of leave it loose. I need to see if where the noise actually is coming from, and then we're gonna go ahead and turn it on and see what it does, and then we'll turn it right off. You can hear the noise in the back, so we're going to see if we can pinpoint that noise. Okay, so I pinpointed what the noise was coming from, and it's actually, I believe it's the motor fan, not actually the motor itself, but I believe it's the fan back there. So I've got to figure out how to pull this fan contraption out. As you can see, it's way down there, so sorry, let's see if I can blow this up a little bit more. So I'm looking at this back part of it, and the motor is located at the bottom left right there. So I take that out and see what's going on with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and unplug it again, and then see what's happening there. Okay, so far what I've seen is I've taken a screw out right here. Let's see right there. And this actually just pops out just like that. I'm gonna set this on the side. Sorry about the motion camera and stuff. Then we got 2 screws here that we've taken out already. So this is already loose. But what's holding it down is underneath. Let's see. Let me see if I can lift this without breaking anything here. Let's see if I can lift this here, because underneath it's got a little flap. Let me. Okay, so underneath you can see that little flap thing right here, right there. We have to bend that down in order to pop up. See if you can see, it'll release the motor. So like I said, we're gonna have to bend that flap downwards, and it should pop right out. Sorry I can't show you the procedure because I'm actually holding it with one hand and then holding my phone. So, but I'll show it to you after I take it out. So far I've taken out the whole front panel, and there was 2 screws on top to remove your control panel, and then there was 2 screws. This actually, this face right here, your facing of the, sorry, such a mess here. From this, you can see the holes. So those go up here. There was a couple of screws here, and then way at the bottom of, you're looking at your face of it, way at the bottom there was some screws. You can see one right there, and then there's another one here. So in all, to take that whole front panel off, there's only 4 screws. But of course you got to take out the door and some other just minor stuff, really, just to take the whole front. It seems like it's a lot, but it's not. So now we're gonna take this whole front face, because I really need to get to that motor down there. So I removed already 4 screws to take this off, but I'm disconnecting the wires also at the same time. You gotta be careful with not to cut the wires. And if they have terminals, just take them off very carefully. And that should remove that whole front part, so I can expose the motor, so I can actually see what's going on with it, because it's making that winding or whining noise. So we'll get to that in a little bit. Okay, so we've exposed the blower, and we're gonna check that out to see why it's making that funny noise. It still could be some type of bearing or something, so we'll check that out. Anyhow, that's what we have so far. We removed the outer or face part of it. I took it outside so I can hose it down. Just be careful not to wet those sensors and stuff that are on him. If you do, just make sure they're dry before you plug anything back in. But we're gonna see what's wrong with this blower thing right now. See why it's making all that funny noise. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and remove the blower part of this motor. I really think something's wrong with it. If it's wobbly or any type of, if it's not stiff, that means that it's going out or something's wrong with it. But anyways, there's a screw there and a screw here, and then we got to take off this little terminal there. But I already noticed that this right here, let me see if I can get a closer picture. Right there, it's got a crack on that makeshift bolt. So see how it's wobbling like that? That's showing me that there's something wrong with this wheel. So I'm gonna have to replace probably the whole entire. I don't think they sell just the wheel itself. I think it's just the whole thing. So luckily it has the information right here. That's really tiny to see, but it says it's the blower housing assembly. Manufacture date was February 22nd of 2011, so it's had about a 9-year run. Electrolux, and the model on it is the MST26257-670. So that's what I need to order, is this unit here. And like I said before, I believe the motor itself is still in good shape. It's just the actual blower. I can see that it's very loose, and it does definitely have a crack right there, and that's why it's making that whining noise when it takes off. It's just not taking off at full speed in the beginning, and it's got that whining noise. So we'll go ahead and take that apart and see if we can order it and see how much it's going to be. Okay, so now our next step is removing the blower assembly away from the motor, and to do that we're going to use some pliers to actually hold on to the. I'm going to hold on to it, see if it'll work right there where the pulley's at, and then I'm going to use it's actually a 22. It varies on your blower, but I'm using a 22 socket, and I'm going to go clockwise. So it's going to go that way, clockwise, and that should loosen the blower motor itself, the fan motor away from the motor itself. So let's go and give that a whirl, see if it'll take it away from there. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we need to mount this right here to the shaft. So I believe it goes on counterclockwise in order for it to actually mount. So let's try spinning that thing on there counterclockwise, as you can see. Right there, it's already going on. And then we'll get a socket. I believe it was a 22 that I used to go here and just barely tighten it. It'll self-tighten anyways once it starts to spin anyway. So, and then we have a mount back here, right back here. It's kind of like a little clamp that goes down in here. Let's see, you just push that down, just like that. If you heard it clamp in. It's still going to be a little bit loose because of the fact that this whole unit has to be mounted in the machine itself. So let me grab a socket and I need to get some pliers to hold on to this while I spin it. And remember, we don't need to tighten it too much. So here's the blower assembly, the housing assembly. What I did is I used a 22 millimeter socket with wrench, and it's actually fits right around here. And what I did is you have to go counterclockwise to tighten it, and then of course I used a adjustable wrench on the end right here, and all I did is torque it down and tighten that up. And then here this actually comes up, but you use a screwdriver to pry that down, and then this clamp actually slides up this way, and that holds this unit together along with your assembly also. So another thing is it's got another clamp down here. You use a screwdriver to just prop that up just by pulling it this way, and this whole thing will come off, and then it's ready to go. So I'm just going to do everything in reverse of how I assembled everything back into the dryer. Okay, so everything that we took out, we're just going to actually put everything in reverse as far as putting back the new blower motor assembly, and then we're just going to put everything back just the way we had taken everything off. So just I'm going to put this on hyper speed so that way we move on a little bit faster. Okay, so we're doing the mounting of the back of the motor. So there's 2 bolts of this motor that are right here. Just wanted to point that out. And then remember, underneath this there's a flap that we got to bend back, and that'll hold this motor in place pretty well. So we'll go ahead and do that first. Okay, so I got my different fitting, which is a 1/4 inch little impact drill socket. Take that off. Okay, set those aside. I just took that off because it was on the way anyways. We were going to have to take it off it regardless. But let me adjust my camera again. So you can kind of look at what I'm looking at down here. I needed to put this part back. It's a tension pulley. And it also had a spring. So let me mount this, and then I'll get back to my outer part of putting the panel back on. I wanted to show you how a tension pulley is put on to one of these dryers. First, I put it around the, make sure it goes around the actual main pulley right here. You can see it's got a little hook, or a fork, I'm sorry. This actually goes into this little bolt right here, which got a little slot. You don't have to tighten it. All you got to do is just drop it in, just like that. Did you see that? Okay, so what I do is I actually go back. I go back on this pulley back enough to get this belt right in front of it. So that's set right there. See it? Okay. Then I get this spring and I put it around this little hole right here. And then this bottom of the hook of this spring has to go right here to this little hole. So what I'll do is I'll put a little tension on it and just hook it up just like that. See? Ta-da! You guys learned something new. Okay, let's get back to our other work. Okay, so now that we have everything plugged in, I'm gonna go ahead and push start, and hopefully it won't explode. Just kidding. So no more noise. Looks like it's running pretty smooth. Let's check the takeoff on that again. Okay, one more time. got a smooth takeoff. So now you guys know how to check out what that what the noise was to begin with, and we found out it was the blower motor assembly. And I went ahead and changed out the motor itself, so now everything should run another 10 years or so. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and take care.